Hello and welcome to Light Body Radio. I am your host, Dr. Lara May. I am a clinical pharmacist, Reiki master, and intuitive integrative health coach. As a health coach, I provide a safe, supportive process for aligning your dreams with your intentions. I will guide you to take small right action toward reaching your goals every week. Let's turn your vision into your reality today.
Hey everybody, it's great to be back. Today is the second part to a two-part series on clarity. If you haven't heard the episode before, go back and listen to it now. You can find it at drlaramay.com/lightbodyradio/clarity. You can find it on Stitcher, iTunes, Spotify, Podbean, and Anchor.fm. And all of those you can find it under Light Body Radio. Also, you can download the show notes, which will include your copy of The Wheel of Life, which we covered last week, and the big packet of self-reflective questions, which will carry over to this week too. So you can go to last week's show and go ahead and download them, or I will also include those links in this week's show as well. All right, so today I thought I'd do something fun and new and different, and it might become a mainstay. I decided to pull a oracle card, and today I'm using the Ascended Masters deck. And yes, this is one of Doreen Virtue's many oracle card decks. And I love this deck because I work a lot with the Ascended Masters in my Reiki and intuitive healing practice and in my own personal life. So I thought it'd be fun today to see which Ascended Master we're working with today and to see how relevant it is. And of course, it's exactly relevant. I pulled the Vishnu card. And Vishnu is the Hindu god who works alongside the gods of Brahma and Shiva to preserve the world. He brings about harmony when powers become unbalanced and provides protection and mercy to all. He is a benevolent and loving deity. Vishnu can help you feel safe about your current situation and your future life. And the name of the card is Trust. And I think that's great because in this two-part series, we're talking a lot about evaluating where we are and setting goals. And I think a lot of times it becomes scary and it can become one of the barriers to moving forward. It's when we start to have self-doubt and when we start to question and maybe not trust ourselves, not trust our guidance, not trust our intuition, sometimes not even trust the physicalness of our surroundings, whether it be our relationships and jobs and family members or our income or, all of those things we can start to question. So I really love this card, Trust, that came through for us today. And I think it shows us that we can trust the situation that we are inquiring about, whichever area you've decided to start working on, and know that you have a solid foundation to work with. And I think sometimes we can forget that. So just remember that even if you feel you're in uncharted territory, know that you do have a solid foundation under or behind you or underneath you, maybe, I guess, since it's a foundation. But just trust yourself, trust your guidance, trust your intuition, trust your resources that you have around you. And this is what we're going to talk about today is keep purifying your motivations so that they are completely about love and service to elevate the energy and experiences even further. So even though we have these goals for our life, in what way are they in service to the world around us? Maybe they're in service to your family. Maybe they're in service to those that you serve through your career. But typically our goals will feel a lot more fulfilling and a lot more connected and a lot more satisfying if there is some aspect of service work behind them. So they can, I think definitely our goals can have two aspects. One, of course, are the aspect that serves our souls immediately, but then where outside of you is this goal going to become of service? And maybe that's something you haven't thought about, but I think it's something to definitely keep in mind. And maybe if you're a journaler or you like to make lists, you could make a sort of split page list. And on the left side, you could ask, how does this goal serve me? And then on the right side, how does this goal serve the world? Or how can maybe this outcome become of service to the world around me? So something fun to think about. Thank you, Vishnu, for being here with us today. And let's get started with part 2 of our Clarity series. So in part 1, I introduced you to the Wheel of Life tool to help you assess where you are right now. Because, it's hard to figure out where we want to go if we don't really know where we are. So I asked you to take an honest inventory of different aspects of your life using the wheel, and then I asked you, where were you willing and ready to make some changes? You have to know what you don't want in life in order to know what you do want, right? So contrast, even though sometimes it's unpleasant, is a great tool to help us figure out what we want to gain clarity. So every time we have this, well, I don't want that, or how did this happen in my life? If you can turn it into, well, what does this tell me that I do want? Then you can actually, turn any possibly negative situation into a learning experience. And that's really when you're, taking what the universe brings to you and really utilizing it to the best possible outcome. Okay, and then I took you through a pretty exhaustive list of questions to get your creative and clarity juices flowing. So how did you do with that? Did you download the wheel? Maybe you haven't gotten a chance to, but you're planning to. No rush. You always have this podcast and the previous one to listen to as many times as you want if you're not the type that really works off of paper resources. So do whatever resonates with you. Maybe as you're listening to this, you're just taking notes. That totally works as well. So today I'm going to help you get an even better idea, an even more clear vision of where you want to be. So now it's time to clarify your goal. So in order to clarify your goal, we're going to go through some more questions. Surprise, surprise, this is what I do as a health coach. I ask you questions. I help force you into the answers that you can come up for yourself that will resonate best with you and work best in your life. So what goal would you like to achieve? And what are your priorities, values, and guiding principles for life? So some of these you'll recognize from last week because we talked about making sure that whatever goal or whatever area in your life that you are working on improving or changing, that it's something that still resonates with you and your values and what you believe in. Because if not, it's going to make it pretty unlikely that you're going to follow through or that you're going to feel good about accomplishing this goal. And the whole point of this is to improve your life, improve your satisfaction, improve your happiness, improve your emotional balance and well-being, improve your relationships, improve your financial status, improve whatever it is. Maybe it's how much joy you infuse into your everyday life, how many outlets for creativity you have, all of the different aspects of the wheel. These are all things to create a more balanced and well-rounded you and life for you. So, is this goal congruent with who you are? Does the goal fit into your current lifestyle? Will your current lifestyle contribute to the achievement of this goal, or will it be of hindrance? What things might also, as part of the trickle down, will also change? I think those are some very important things to think about. If you want a super successful career, sometimes that's going to require long hours away maybe, or time away from your family and friends. There's maybe travel. So there's a lot of things to think about to make sure that all the different aspects are in alignment with what you want and where you see yourself going. Does this goal align with your personal standards? Is this goal in conflict with any other goals you have set? And if so, how is this significant? Let's see what else. And so, like I said, some of these questions might seem redundant, but I'm really just wanting you to get back into the train of thought of really getting specific about what you want and the possible repercussions and effects that achieving this goal might have. So, do you have any doubts about it? That's totally natural. If we didn't have doubts, then I think it would be, a pretty one-dimensional way of living. And we're definitely three-dimensional beings on this planet, and we have the potential, and from in the spiritual realm, to be, fifth-dimensional and higher. So doubts, I think, are a natural part of our experience on this planet. And like I said before, the contrast should help you clarify what you want. Do you feel that this goal is believable for you? Or do you feel like it's sort of a pie in the sky? Hopefully your goal is believable, because having confidence in yourself will make it even that much more likely that you'll have success. Let's see, what else? Is this goal aligned with your life's purpose? That's sort of a big question. How many of us really know what our life's purpose is? Maybe going through this process will help you clarify what your life purpose is. But don't freak out if you don't know what your life's purpose is, or you think like, well, hell, I don't even know if I have a life purpose. So just maybe focus on the approachable aspects. Maybe life purpose is too unapproachable at this point. And that's okay. Be realistic about some of these questions that maybe are like too big or too abstract, and focus on what resonates with you. And I want to say that about any of the stuff we talk about, so I'm going to have a little veering off here for a minute. If I say anything that doesn't resonate with you, that's cool. You don't have to take it with you. Just take with you what I say or what comes through that clicks, and you're like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense, or oh yeah, I totally feel in alignment with that, or that resonates with me. If I say something that's like totally heady, maybe talking about the ascended masters, you're not you don't work with them, you don't know about them, that's totally cool. You're like, who are these people? No worries. You don't have to. I'm not telling you have to, totally absorb and digest every single word I say. I am just here to instigate thought and hopefully bring a new vibration to your life. And so, again, take what resonates with you along with you for the ride, and then everything else, don't even worry about it. You can just leave it at the curb. Okay, so it's important that you don't waste your time chasing a goal that isn't right for you. So let's not even bother spending time drawing up a plan of action to achieve a goal if you answered no to any of the above questions, because like I said, we want you to be successful and we want you to be productive, and we don't want you to be banging your head against the wall or sort of feeling like you're running in circles because maybe there's an aspect of the goal that's really just not in alignment with who you are or your life's plan. So instead, take the time to outline a different goal that ticks off most of the boxes above. And again, these questions are in the packet of resources from the show notes. So there's 2 files. One file is the Wheel of Life, and the other file is the questions. So you'll find these questions for your convenience and for you to work through at your own time later from the show notes. You can, of course, upgrade your values, beliefs, and standards. However, this will take willingness, and some work and effort. But it's totally possible. We all have the ability to change, but we just have to be cognizant and diligent and purposeful if we want to implement those changes. You might have, heard throughout life, oh, people don't change, I guess one saying is once a cheater, always a cheater, or whatever those little sayings are. But I think change is possible, but like I said, it has to be intentional, and it takes a lot of self-awareness and reflection and willingness. So it's totally doable and totally possible, but it might be a bit of a hurdle if you're biting off too much change right off the bat. So think about that too. All right. Another key to success is understanding your outcomes and your results. There's a big difference between clarifying your goal and actually understanding the outcome you would like to see happen. So to get a clear understanding, we will work through, we have 3 tasks, and I got these from, there's this mind mapping website. What's it called? It's called IQ Matrix, is where these tasks came from, if you're wondering my resource for this. And IQ Matrix is a really cool website with an almost overwhelming amount of tools. So that's why I just picked these 3 to sort of distill it down so you wouldn't get overwhelmed, hopefully. But anyway, so the first is called future pacing process, and that helps further clarify your goal. The second is a reverse engineering process that will help you shed some light on your journey, and I think I have planned to take you through a visualization with that. So that's all about like visualizing how you see the final outcome being, and then working backwards to achieve that, and to like set your aspects of measurement, and know like how you'll know if you accomplish certain tasks. And then the third, they call the ecological analysis, and this will also provide a realistic view of what it will take to walk the walk and achieve your goal. So again, the source for these next 3 little processes is called IQ Matrix. If you wanted to look that up on your own time, that might be something you might be interested in. All right, so the first one is future pacing. Future pacing is the exploration of the future as you visualize yourself having already achieved your goal with full sensory involvement. So what does that mean? So you are, again, visualizing yourself already having success with whatever goal you set out. And during this visualization, you will see, you will smell, you will feel, you'll feel like physical sensory, but you also will feel like emotions. Maybe you will feel satisfied and elated and excited. And so that's really what that means, but by full sensory involvement. So you're going to absorb yourself with your goal by seeing it, hearing it, feeling it, tasting it, and smelling it. It's all about getting a sense of what it would be like to have already achieved your goal in the present moment. And this really is, there are many, many successful entrepreneurs and business people out there that use this. Athletes use this. I know when I was swimming competitively, I had a really good coach that used some of his sports psychology, and he would take us through visualizations of, winning our race. What does it feel like when you are, at your most powerful, your most successful, and having that outcome with your best time or perfect form, like whatever it was at the time. So all right, so actually this is going to be the visualization exercise. So if you're in a space now where you can close your eyes and get still, please do that. If not, then just listen through and then come back to this later when you can be in a quiet space. So just go ahead and start to deepen your breath. Take a deep breath in and feel your belly expand, your lungs expand, feel your shoulders drop and release. Maybe even release it with a big sigh. Let it all out. Release all the tension in your body. Let your mind quiet itself. Take another big deep breath in and release it. Let everything go. Maybe even say, I fully surrender to the universe. I fully surrender to my life's purpose and my life's path. Take another full deep breath in and a big sigh. Sigh it out. Let it all go. Center into your heart space, that spot in your chest, in the middle of your body. It's your fourth chakra. See a channel of white light from above your head come all the way down into your crown, down through your spine, all the way down through your heart, down through your abdomen, out your first chakra, down through your feet and into the earth. Just grounding yourself. Maybe you can feel the earth underneath you wherever you're sitting. Thank you, Mother Earth, for supporting you. Imagine this light, this channel of light going down into the earth and down through the dirt, down through the crystal mines, down into the fiery core of the earth. And so now you are connected both above and below. Now bring into your mind's eye the goal that you've been thinking about over these past 2 weeks. Or maybe it's been even longer than that, but your highest priority, what is that goal? Bring it into your mind's eye, into your consciousness. Now see yourself having already achieved this goal. Let that vision form in your mind. Let it develop. Let it be like a movie that you see on a screen in front of you, even maybe. Where are you right now? Who was there with you during your time of success and achievement? What is happening now that you have achieved this goal? Allow the picture and the visualization to unfold. What exactly are you seeing? What exactly are you hearing? Are you hearing peace and quiet in your success? Are you hearing maybe a crowd cheering or a group of people around you celebrating with you? What are you thinking during your time of success and accomplishment? What are you feeling? Are you feeling elated? Are you feeling content? Are you feeling satisfied? Are you feeling relief? Are you feeling anticipation for the doors that this accomplishment has opened for you? There's so many possible feelings. What specifically do you see yourself doing? And how are you doing these things differently? Allow all of this excitement, success, and new energy to permeate in from your light body into your aura and into your physical body. See it as pure light. What color is this light? Is it platinum? Is it gold? Is it yellow? Is it pink? Is it green? Give this feeling, this light, this energy, maybe some texture and a temperature. Bask in the warm light and the warm feelings of satisfaction and achievement, allowing it to penetrate every cell in your body. Allow it to be anchored into your being so that you may recall this feeling at any time. Anytime you maybe start to have a doubt or stress along the way, just stop and come back to this feeling of success, this feeling of accomplishment, of satisfaction and achievement. Visualize this goal in your mind and allow yourself to be fully absorbed with the emotions you're experiencing. Take as much time as you need, and when you're ready, you can come back into the room. And while undertaking this process, don't concern yourself with how you achieve the goal. Instead, just spend a few minutes basking in the glory of having already achieved it. This is the key. The how will work itself out. A lot of times we stop ourselves before we ever get started because we start thinking about, well, how? I don't know how to do A, B, or C, or I don't have the resources, or I don't know, yada, 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 whatever it is. Just don't worry about the how and trust. We'll call on Vishnu for the trust. Trust that the universe is your best resource and it is always there. As the Gabby Bernstein's book says, the universe has your back. So trust that the how will work itself out in perfect divine right timing. And just, again, bask in the glory of achievement. Okay. So I'm going to move on to the next of the 3 processes. This next one's called reverse engineering, and this one, just like it sounds, is backwards planning. The process of reverse engineering will allow you to design a solid plan of action, working from the achievement of your goal all the way back to the present moment, which is where you are now. As you begin this process, keep your goal in mind and take one step backwards. Each time, ask yourself, what was the last step I took before I achieved this goal? Or what was the last task I did before I achieved this goal? Or what was the last thing that needed to happen before the final goal was achieved? What specifically did I do and think as I took this step? Did I utilize any specific resources, skills, or tools to take this step? Write all those down. Where did you take the step? And why was a step necessary, or why did you take the step? Did you face any challenges undertaking this step? If so, what were they? Now take yourself back even further to the step that came before that, and the step that came before that. And ask yourself, what was the next to last step I took before achieving this goal? What did I do the step before that? And what did I do the step before that? So you can see how you can reuse this set of questions for each step, moving backwards until you've reached where you are now. So keep moving step by step until you reach the present moment. So let's say your goal is a career change. So the final achievement will be you successful in the new career. What was the step most, immediate before that? Well, it was probably applying for that new job. And before that, it was doing the job search. And before that, it was maybe completing any new skill sets that you might need for this new career. So any education, any reading or resources or meeting people. So all of these things, each one is a step back to where you are now, which is in the process of wanting a career change. And so really understanding this will help you maybe pre-plan for obstacles that you might be able to anticipate. Of course, there's always obstacles and bumps in the road that we have that we can't anticipate, but this will help you really flesh out each step, each process, the aspects surrounding it to help you get an idea of what will be required, how you will meet each requirement, or how you will attack or step up to the plate for each goal, and how you will move through them. So it's really helpful. And, you don't have to do it all in one sitting. Maybe this is something that you'll do over the course of a week. So you know what you want, that career change, and maybe today you will think about the first step backwards. And then tomorrow you'll come in for your 5 to 10 minutes of journaling and thinking about the next step backwards. So again, you don't have to do this all in one fell swoop. I don't want you to feel overwhelmed at any point. So at any point you're working through some of the stuff, you start to feel overwhelmed, just stop, walk away, come back to it later when you are excited and anticipatory and looking forward to it, because you don't want to infuse your negativity and your doubts and your obstacles into the work. You really want to keep it positive and action and success oriented. So think about those feelings that you feel when you are positively moving towards your goal. You're excited, you're eager. So work on this stuff when you have those feelings about your goal. Don't work on it when you're feeling overwhelmed and beaten down and distraught or any of that. So keep that in mind too. I'm going to take a little sip. Okay, and the last process is the ecological analysis process. So this sounds probably a little uber scientific, but this is a life coaching term, and it's used for the purpose of checking the likely effects of change. And we talked about this a little bit before, but this is really going to help you dig into your possible side effects of change. In other words, you're searching for the effects that achieving this goal will have on your life. As you work through this process, keep in mind both the positive and the negative consequences of achieving this goal. And it's natural to have both. If you were to ask me, is it possible to only have positive side effects? I would say no, that's probably unrealistic. But like I talked about before, that contrast is going to help you gain clarity and get more specific and knowing about what you want. So I don't think it's bad just because not everything's positive. If everything were always positive, I think we would get pretty bored. So consider also the time and effort that will be required for you to achieve this goal and how that might affect other aspects of your life. Are you ready? Here's some more questions. So who will be affected by this outcome? Obviously you, but who else in your life will be affected by the outcome? How might others be affected by the outcome? While this goal might have a huge impact on you personally, maybe some others not have such a positive outcome. If we keep with the career example, will it require you to move? If so, will that make your family sad, or will that cause maybe a significant relationship to end, or will that significant other move with you? What must you sacrifice in order to achieve this outcome? And again, I don't want you to think about this totally in a down, sad, negative way, but sacrifice is a part of life. And I think sometimes it's really good because it teaches us to get creative and come up with alternative solutions that we might not have thought were possible before. So what must you sacrifice in terms of time, effort, resources? How will achieving this outcome affect your roles in life? Maybe your role as a spouse or significant other, your role as a daughter or a sibling or a son, or maybe your role as a mother, or your role of whatever your career role is. And how will it affect your other goals and your other priorities? Because, right, we started with the wheel. So on a wheel, there is no beginning or end. It's all connected. And so it's again unrealistic to think that you change one aspect of the wheel and it doesn't affect any of the other aspects. So it's just a good idea to look and see what might be affected. What adjustments might you be forced to take? How is the outcome likely to change you? Like we talked about before, I don't believe that people can't change. I think they choose not to, but you can also choose to change. And so if you've been listening to this episode and the previous one, then it sounds like to me that you've chosen some change in your life. So how will this outcome likely to change you? And do you like these changes? What are the negative consequences of achieving this outcome? What are the positive consequences? Again, I encourage you to go back to maybe the split page list. It's always, I think, a good tool of visualization to see them side by side. And then given what you know now, is pursuing this goal still of value? And I think it's healthy to reevaluate this, especially at different aspects along your journey. Because you're going to have ups and downs. And things are going to come up, and you are not in a vacuum on this planet or in this world. We are in a very dynamic, we're all connected. Everything we do has, a cause and effect. So it's possible that you started on this journey for career change, and maybe you realized there were a lot of consequences that you hadn't thought about before. And so maybe you realize you've reevaluated and said, well, maybe I don't need a huge career change. Maybe I just need a different aspect of my current career. That is still a great creative alternative, don't you think? So it's possible that you might come in with one idea and then end up with something totally different, but that doesn't mean that it can't be positive and creative and fantastic for you and your life and those in your life. All right, so this was the ecology check. So now you may realize that pursuing this goal might not be in your best interest, and that's cool. Or the goal might need to be tweaked, or you might need to set another goal that will be more consistent with your life and your circumstances. Either way, you now have the certainty and the clarity you need and the tools to decide whether or not you will pursue this goal. And bring your reverse engineered plan into fruition. All right, so that was a lot of information, and I tried to make it more approachable by splitting it into 2 episodes. I provided you with a lot of questions to ask and answer. So again, you don't have to do every single one, but definitely read through them. Give yourself, some time to think and digest about them. If you feel so called, maybe take some time to journal about the ones that really jump out at you or feel that they need more attention. I hope that this has helped you set a goal or think about some goals in your life. I want you to be successful, and my job here is to help keep you accountable or help you have some accountability and to help you with the follow through. So I have some final considerations for you before we end up this episode. And the first one is to plan with a purpose. What is your why? Simon Sinek wrote a whole book about your why. And if you're a book reader, that might be something fun to explore too. But also understand your limits. What are the limitations on your personal time and the time that you can give to achieving this outcome? What knowledge and experience are you lacking that you might need to achieve this outcome? What are your energy levels? Do you have enough motivation to achieve this outcome? Let's get real. Come on. Motivation's a huge factor. And have you set deadlines for yourself? What about your funds? Do you have enough funds to bring this all to fruition? Maybe you need to seek some outside help, which is totally cool too. It's amazing the resources that are out there these days. What are some other limitations or weaknesses that you might have, or that could prevent you from following through? Understanding your personal limitations means that you will be more realistic and make more achievable plans. So again, understanding your limitations is not a source or a point for you to beat up on yourself, but it's about being able to help yourself achieve the plans by being realistic with yourself. All right. How can you gain the knowledge that you need if you don't have it already? How can you find more motivation and inspiration? What could you potentially do to boost your energy levels? How can you gain an extra couple hours throughout the day? Ooh, that sounds like a big task. Because there's 24 usable hours in every day. That's a mantra that I heard growing up. And it definitely led to some workaholicism for me. But I think it's definitely something to point out that usable hours are also meditation hours and exercise hours and downtime hours and self-care hours. So make sure that you infuse self-care and downtime into this schedule along with your achieving this goal. Maybe how could this goal help you bring your expenses down? And how can you leverage your time? Maybe you need to outsource some things. And how can you use other people's expertise and knowledge to help you? As you take the time to think through these last few questions, you'll probably realize that you do actually have a lot of options on the table. And that's also something that I want to bring to you, is the feeling that you're not alone, that you have help, you have resources, and just not being afraid to use them. And so therefore, if your plan seems somewhat overwhelming and difficult, then remind yourself that there's always a way to overcome your challenges. As long as you're open to creative possibilities and honest with yourself about your capabilities. Again, be open to creative solutions. All right, so I think I'm going to end it there for today. I hope this episode has gotten you thinking about your life balance, setting goals, and creating action plans. These are some of the big aspects of feeling happy in our lives. So go back and listen to the first episode. Listen to this episode as many times as you need. Again, I've created an 11-page document with all these questions on it, and it's uploaded in the show notes. If you still feel overwhelmed but are motivated to start putting some more actions and change into your life, that's what I'm here for. So send me a message or an email or contact me through my website or Facebook, and we can set up a coaching clarity call if you feel like that would be helpful to you at this point in your life. I would love to help you reach your goals and achieve a greater level of success, whatever that means to you. Don't forget, please send me feedback and questions. I love hearing from you. You can download the Anchor app and listen to this there. But now I'm also on Stitcher, Spotify, and iTunes, which is super exciting. And you can also leave comments on my podcast page, which is drlaramay.com/lightbodyradio. Or I post each episode on my Facebook page, and you can leave me a comment there as well. And I think there's definitely places for reviews and comments on the other podcast platforms. So I am here to serve you, and I look forward to bringing you more tools and resources next week. I hope everyone has a fantastic week and enjoy the upcoming full moon and the upcoming eclipse. And also be aware that Mercury is moving retrograde at the end of this week. So keep that in mind. Or maybe that doesn't mean anything to you, and that's cool too. Have a great week, everybody. Namaste.